So, not many fans love him. Ryan's character also kind of turned into an asshole in later seasons. He used to be the absolute voice of reason with Lois, being the only thing that made him off-kilter because of his love for her. We've all had a pet that loves our significant others more than us, but in recent seasons, Ryan's now become an extreme leftist liberal who's also a womanizer. Many of the years of Lois failing to return his love turned him against women. He's seen time and time again picking up ladies and degrading them, and his comments have turned sullen and mean.
Hey, Cheryl, get your fat ass over here before I dump you.
One thing that's remained the same is that he's still an alcoholic. It's interesting that the two most satirical characters have been developed the most and have been partnered together in many of the most beloved episodes. And one thing's for sure, we would totally watch this now. There you have it. I'm Adrian, and thanks for watching Then vs. Now Family Guy. Do you like the new episode or the original? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to click.
Hardest working vehicles, lower emission vehicles. At ExxonMobil, we're working to develop and produce new engine-ready vehicles. Renewable diesel is made from plants. The advanced biofuel is made from wood waste. Fuels like these can help reduce emissions by up to 85%, while powering vehicles on the road to net zero.
I joined for one because it gives me 10% of my very important deliveries, which is great because nobody doesn't grow trees anymore. I've done the research. There are big trees, small trees, Christmas trees, bushes that say they're trees that are houses.
The show that premiered in 1989 is presently in its 28th season and snagged the title of longest-running TV series 8 years ago. It would be pretty difficult to find anyone in America, or even the world, who doesn't recognize the name The Simpsons. However, throughout its extensive history, The Simpsons has gone through some major changes. We know it's hard to keep up with over 600 episodes, so we're here to help. Hey, I'm Adrian, the channel Frederator, and today we're looking into Then vs. Now, The Simpsons. Grab a donut, and here we go. The animation. A lot happened in 28 years, especially in terms of technology. When The Simpsons premiered in 1989, there was only one way to make a cartoon: draw and paint it by hand. Things have obviously changed since then, yet The Simpsons is infamous in the animation industry for really sticking to the old-fashioned way. Most of the process is done digitally now for sure, but the show's production remains slow-paced and expensive. Contrary to what you think streamlining technology enables, The Simpsons has actually added more roles throughout the years than it subtracted, mostly as a failsafe to ensure quality. True to their old-school Disney Hanna-Barbera approach, Matt Groening loves to point out that The Simpsons was one of the last holdouts on switching from self-paintings to digital, and even then, the episodes were still drawn by hand and only inked and painted digitally, with additional computery stuff for backgrounds and 3D effects. Season 14's The Great Mouse Detective was the definitive mark in the shift, although it was tested in Tennis the Menace from Season 12. By the mid-2010s, the full animation and layout process had inevitably shifted to digital. Incidentally, that period was also when The Simpsons switched to digital storyboards. Previously, even storyboard was done by hand, and any edit meant you had to redo the board from scratch. When boards went digital, editing the animatic became much easier. Showrunner Al Jean said he can even tweak audio from his phone. It's very modern. The storylines and humor. There are a lot, and I mean a lot of hardcore Simpsons fans that would tell you anything season 9 and onward is no good. It's a point of extreme passion. Whether you agree with that statement or not, there are very obvious shifts in The Simpsons' story focus and style of humor, and they all correlate with a constantly revolving door of showrunners. Until season 9, The Simpsons got a new showrunner every 2 years. And so Channel Frederator now presents to you the extremely abridged history of Simpsons showrunners. The founding team was, surprise, surprise, Matt Groening himself, along with Sam Simon and James L. Brooks. The constant push and pull between Groening's satire and Simon's sitcominess laid the foundations of the show. Under them, seasons 1 and 2 are much more grounded, less zaniness, and more focused on typical situations. Plus, you had Groening's mind for social commentary at work. Then Al Jean and Mike Reiss, the first writers hired for the series, oversaw seasons 3 and 4. This is widely regarded as the period that cemented The Simpsons into what it is today. Sillier and more absurd humor came into play, the characters' personalities were honed in upon and settled, and guest stars and cultural references started trickling in. This is also when the show's main focus started shifting from art to humor. David Merkin moved in as showrunner for seasons 5 and 6, and since most of the series writers happened to move on after season 4, he started from the ground up. This was the era where the storylines got unabashedly weirder and more surreal, like sending Homer to space. But it was also a pinnacle period for original episodes, such as the tearjerker Do It For Her ordeal. Merkin recommended Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein for seasons 7 and 8, who slightly pulled back the reins on Merkin's wild antics and on the expanding lens on side characters. Because they believed The Simpsons stayed on its out, they wanted to focus on character-driven stories revolving around the nuclear Simpson family, but they also showed an unprecedented willingness to experiment with the show's format, with episodes like 22 short films about Springfield and Homer's enemy, Oakley and Weinstein went on to create Mission Hill after leaving The Simpsons. Next came Mike Scully, who held the show for a whopping 4 seasons, yet faced another mass exodus of writers at the outset of his tenure. Not an easy way to start. Many people blame Scully for the show's decline, saying that the show's emotional core somewhat eroded in his tenure, that cohesive storylines largely gave way to gag hopping and ungrounded wackiness, and that rounded out characters became more one-dimensional. Al Jean, who you might remember from seasons 3 and 4, has been showrunner ever since season 13, with occasional help from Matt Selman. As you might guess, 14 seasons is a little hard to sum up. Each is full of great and not so great episodes, but many believe the majority of these episodes to be just eh. Less of these shows focus on the initial grounding idea that the Simpsons are a blue-collar family fretting about money. While Gene has done a good job in finding a way to keep the Simpsons relevant, like having fans vote on Flanders' romantic fate, many fans complain about the show's penchants nowadays being overly wacky, guilty of cameo cramming, repeating plot lines, and, most frustratingly, constantly self-referential. The Simpsons themselves. The design of The Simpsons themselves hasn't changed too much since their inception on The Tracy Ullman Show, though the very first shorts look like a weird version of the characters we know today. Smaller eyes, different lips and head lengths, more pronounced hair spikes. Their characterizations, however, have gone through some subtle yet notable changes. Homer started out way meaner in the Tracy Ullman shorts. He was the short-tempered dad, always yelling at his troublemaker kids, and mostly one kid, since we got the first few instances of Homer strangling Bart. But he's not really kidding. Even in seasons 1 and 2, Homer was dumb, but not stupid. It wasn't until the Gene and Lisa era that Homer went full-on dimwit and became less mean and angry in the process. And so Homer remained until season 9, when jerk-ass Homer started coming to life. And by season 11, when he wasn't acting like jerk-ass Homer, he was zany Homer. At this point, there were less episodes where Homer's more emotional side shined through. Griffin also commented in 2010 that Homer has a tragic undercurrent to his relationship with his kids, so the writers eventually wanted to allow Homer to be a good father to Lisa every now and again. Similarly, Groening had initially envisioned Homer as a consistently angry and oppressive father to Bart, but that softened with time as well. Although certainly not entirely new territory for the show, episodes where Homer and Marge's marriage is in question have become much more frequent in recent seasons. In fact, in season 20, it was revealed that Homer and Marge had been divorced since season 8. Other than that, Marge's existence outside of the home has, thank God, been expanded upon. But she's definitely still very Marge. Lisa isn't with us now. Her religious skepticism had been previously explored, but in the season 13 episode, She of Little Faith, Lisa explores other religions and settles on Buddhism, and the change stuck. Of course, Lisa has always been the moralistic Simpson, which was really solidified in the Gene Reese years. Plus, she's been a vegetarian ever since season 7, but her left-leaning politics have become much more of a force in the show these days. Also, remember that time Maggie shot Mr. Burns in the season 7 two-parter aptly titled Who Shot Mr. Burns? Maggie's gun skills have resurfaced a few times since, causing some fans to joke that she's been reclassified from baby genius to sniper. You might also notice that her pacifier sounds are less omnipresent in recent seasons. That was a conscious decision from the team, who worried it became too distracting. And lastly, Bart. People have commented that Bart was a hellraiser in seasons 1 and 2, but softened a bit in season 3, and he's softened in recent seasons as well. While still certainly mischievous, his troublemaking has often had more noble, moral roots in later seasons. Also, it may not surprise you that in season 11, Bart was diagnosed with ADD and Brothers Little Helper. Lastly, many of Bart's catchphrases, such as the infamous "Eat my shorts," have faded away in recent seasons. Rather, understandably, after nearly 30 years, the writers felt that they'd been bored of the side characters. The post-classic seasons have spent a lot of time either filling in the backstories of side characters or putting them through hell. Groening has commented that there's still some backstories he wants to unveil before the show's over. We'll quickly give you classic-era Simpsons fans a news flash in the other citizens of Springfield. Let's start with Ned Flanders, who has had a really rough 16 years. His wife Maud died in season 11, and poor Flanders remained single for 11 more seasons, until he started dating Edna Krabappel in the season 22 finale. Miss Krabappel, in the meantime, had gotten engaged to Principal Skinner, but left him at the altar. The Simpsons teams let fans vote on whether they wanted Ned to stay together, and fans opted to give Flanders a bit of happiness. The couple got married in the following season. They had 2 happy seasons until Edna's voice actress, Marsha Wallace, tragically passed away in fall 2013, forcing the Simpsons crew to respectfully and quietly kill off her character, leaving Flanders twice a widower. Of course, this means she's not Bart the company's teacher anymore either. Flanders' characterization has also changed somewhat. They really honed in on Flanders' status as a very conservative Christian, and one critic even commented that he's become the show's paragon of religion. Recent seasons of The Simpsons began unveiling Smithers as a Burns-asexual, which means he has romantic and sexual feelings towards Mr. Burns and no one else. I mean, right? closeted gay man until 2016, when Smithers finally came out of the closet to Mr. Burns, and the two shared a rather touching hug. Marge's sister, Patty, came out of the closet much earlier in season 16. Very soon thereafter, her other sister, Selma, adopted a baby girl from China named Bling. Bling didn't keep Selma from getting busy, though. She married and promptly divorced both Abe Simpson and Fat Tony. Her last name is now very, very long. Homer's side of the family has also incurred some drama. His elusive mother, Mona, returned to beg for her son's forgiveness and passed away at the house. And now, rapid fire round. Here's a few more for you. Milhouse's parents divorced, spent a while apart, and then remarried, which actually gave his father, Kurt Van Houten, a stint as a standout side character. Nelson's homeland has been fleshed out enough for you to understand where he's coming from and feel bad for him. He's even friends with Bart from time to time and has dated Lisa. Kind of. Ralph Wiggum is weirder than ever. Barney has been on and off sober. Fat Tony died in season 22 and was replaced by his cousin Fit Tony, who became fat and was re-nicknamed Fat Tony. And yeah, that's more or less it. The opening. The Simpsons theme song and opening is about as